Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Lather Talk. So, the original plan for this week was to share with you the audio from an Instagram live session that Gerard and I did this past Thursday. Unfortunately, there's a slight change of plan as we had a lot of trouble connecting and even with the audio itself. I did manage to salvage some highlights from the session, but I did want to give listeners a heads up as the audio sometimes can be a bit echoey, can even come out to be a bit robotic sometimes. But in the end, we were able to have a great time with everyone who showed up to the live. We wrapped up the live in hilarious fashion by sharing some hot takes, some comedic, some real. Either way, I hope you guys enjoy the episode coming right up, and we hope to do more Instagram live sessions in the future.
So one of them is actually Larry, who just joined, Larry.jpg, and he had a great question. He said, any particularly valuable resources for beginners, i.e. to learn about knots, blade gap, etc.?
To be honest, with a Google search, you can get a lot. Most of the communities out there, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, if you have a shaving related question, there's more than enough people out there to tell you resources on where to go, things like that.
Well, just to answer that, Larry's question from my end, I used a forum Badger and Blade a lot. That's just the one I stumbled upon. It's not one that I'm really active now, but that had, as far as searching past posts and whatnot, that had a lot of great information. And ultimately, something when you're starting out with, how to lather, blade angle, and all that, I think YouTube is a great resource. I do remember. I'm trying to remember what channels I used to watch. I think Nick Shaves, who recently came back to YouTube, he was a channel that I watched regularly back in the day. I think he's a very, very accessible YouTuber as far as if you're looking for kind of educational material.
It's really a small world. I'm actually a big MMA fan, and probably 15 years ago, you could just tweet, your favorite fighter because they didn't have that many followers, and they would respond back to you. And I think it's the kind of same thing in this hobby. It's still very niche, not, a lot of widespread fame going around or anything like that. And it's not that hard to kind of get a hold of these artisans directly.
Transformers, we are here.
Hey, let's make this interesting. Give me some hot takes for wet shaving.
Okay, hot takes for wet shaving.
Please.
Oh man.
Give me some hot takes.
Man. Badgers are overrated. Oh dang. Badger brushes are overrated. It's not really. I don't think it's that big of a hot take. No, I enjoy Badgers.
No, look. See, Ryan agrees with you.
Yeah. The great menthol debate. Oh, okay. Menthol shave only wet. Okay. No pre-shave. A shower. You don't need a shower. Just scrub harder. Okay. That's your pre-shave. Exfoliate with a dish brush. Don't even use a Badger. Don't even use a synthetic. I want like full Brillo pad. Okay. There you go. Menthol. I think menthol is fine if you have a minty product. I used to be a big fan of menthol, but I just think balance is a big thing also. And menthol can easily off balance a great scent or the performance of a soap.
Yeah,
right?
I totally agree. And with the inclusion of synthetic menthol, not those different agents, the cooling agents, there's less and less reason to use the OG menthol. So I like it when I like it when it's hot out as well, Ryan. But I think especially when it interrupts the actual scent, I'm right on board with you, Gerard. I'd rather have no menthol and preserve whatever scent than
it being covered up and smelling like cough drops.
Stam asks, would you get into straight razor shaving? Yeah, I thought about it. I think it's a completely, another world as opposed to safeties. It's just like learning, a different skill as far as shaving. So,
Policeman.
no, fire truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, but I would love to use a straight razor. It's not how I got introduced into it, and so I just know there's gonna be like a timetable or like a learning curve on how to use it. So, yeah, that's the thing with that.
You have about 2 to 2.5 months to try straight razor shaving, because I would say after the kiddo comes, and that's kind of what happened to me. Like, oh, I should, it's on my bucket list, but it's hard to find that time, because especially like you've done with a safety razor like I have, you're gonna bring over whatever preconceptions of how to shave and find the angle and whatnot. I'm not sure if I'll probably give it one more try, but I gotta get Rudd's back. His 2 razors, it's been at least a year, maybe more than that he's graciously loaned them to me. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, more power to folks who invest in it, but the upkeep too is very daunting. That you gotta strop, you gotta sharpen, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I just think it's just another facet of the hobby. So, I mean, I primarily gotten into it like so many people because of cost, but then when you kind of get into your groove in terms of hardware, I mean, you could like do a great shave, like, blindfolded, because you're just so used to it. You kind of like know like your angles, your blade gap and exposure, like in terms of aggression. So, yeah, I just think getting into straight razors, it would just, me kind of like going back to like, square one.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, Thirsty Badger, hot take. No one saves money wet shaving. Yeah, pretty much.
I think that's just the truth. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I totally agree with Jared there.
You know what? No. I'll say this.
Yeah.
It was before I went online, really. Because, I mean, we talked about this. I shaved with Proraso, Derby blades, and a Mercor 23C, and a piece like, I think it was an Art of Shaving brushes. It was a really bad Pure Badger, and I didn't know any better, and I was good, right? But the moment I discovered, like artisanal products, that's it. You're right. You're out the door,
Yeah.
And yeah, goodbye, goodbye wallet.
Yeah. That's, I think everyone's in agreement there. Stanley mentioned too that the hot take that tallow soaps are the best. Stanley, that's actually the prevailing thought, and that's what a lot of folks have been trying to disprove. And I say and we talked about this topic too before, right, Gerard? In that whether you're tallow soap or vegan soap, that's just because you have one ingredient or a lack thereof does not make a good soap. There are some bomb vegan soaps, and there's some really crappy tallow soaps. So I think that that is a falsehood, and again, it's perpetuated by the old school good ones all had tallow. So
here's maybe a hot take, and I'm just going to include myself because like I feel like for a long time, like even like I was like this. I think most people don't know how to lather their soaps either way, whether they use tallow or vegan.
Sure.
I think it was in Reddit, like anything, any tips or anything like that. I forgot what thread it was, but I remember posting there that like my tip was just like understanding to how much water to really add to a lather. Whether you're a face latherer or whether you use a bowl, like push that lather like to the brink. So and continue to don't be afraid to develop that lather.
Right. And you would say, so not only use more water, but load more product. So Stanley's saying he hasn't had the best experience with tallow. Whatever the soap is, load. Yeah. The old saying is load it like you hate it.
And on top, I think what needs to be added is drown that mofo.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about like if a lot of if there is a because I've been doing and for those of you that watch the Daily Shave series on West Coast Shaving, like I do 50 swirl lathers, and yeah, I count it. It might sound stupid, but I do about 50 swirl lather, and I'm getting consistent. As far as that's concerned.
Yeah. Oh.
Ryan was asking hard water versus soft water. Does it matter? I think it does. Maybe not as much as people say. I lived in before I got married, the place I was at had incredibly soft water. And then now the apartment in which I live in, we have really hard water. And there's a noticeable difference. There's a noticeable difference to me, but it's just in terms of how much do I really have to work the soap and things like that to get my lather where I want it. Yeah, I mean,
I've seen some. So I've had soft water both here and then when I grew up in Long Island, New York. So in general, like there's no soap. It thrives in soft water, right? But I know folks you will buy bottled water. They'll buy distilled water and use that to shave. I know that's an extra step. So if you are struggling because you have hard water, you could always, get a bottle of Poland Spring and see if it actually you notice a difference, and make sure you control the way you do a lather. Whether it's you count the number of swirls, but that's one way to know how much soap is in there, and do a test. Be as scientific as you can about it, and try your hard ass tap water with bottled water. If it helps, then you might that might be one way to combat it. From our resident pirate shaver, Lather Me Whiskers, he wants to know how to clean used soap, and so what I do, and Gerard, if you have a different method, please share that. But to clean a used soap, if you're into buying used soaps, I know we are. I do a heavy load off the top with whatever brush, and then I just rinse away the heavy load. If you are even more particular about germs and whatnot, I would say take a spoon or whatever and scrape off the top layer.
I've heard people use like a credit card or a gift card. Does anyone really care about using pre-done frags versus blending from scratch? I don't think it's a question that enough people ask, to be honest. I don't care as long as you're just kind of like, upfront about it. I think, good fragrances are good fragrances, I very much appreciate originals, but I just think perfumery is it's just something, that a lot of artisans, don't have the luxury of getting into.
Well, Gerard, I don't want to keep you any longer. I just hope you see DK's hot take, where there will be no Lather Talk disagreements in 2020. So,
yeah, good luck.
I don't know. I guess we are on the same page on a lot of stuff, but there's something. There's going to be something.
There will be something, and that's the thing. Like, I think, we don't want to be an echo chamber for one another.
No.
But playing devil's advocate, sometimes like either in our chats or maybe even doing it eventually in the podcast is going to, probably be a thing. It's just, like, how am I going to like argue for something against something? There's something like Badger versus synthetic. That's a stupid one. Vegan versus tallow. I think that's a dumb one too. Good products are good products. And if you can't use any of them, then it's because you probably suck.
I love it. All
right. Well, I gotta go. Yeah, hey, peace out, guys. I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys later.
Take care, Gerard.
Thank you for listening to Lather Talk. If you're enjoying the podcast, please like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate your time and support and hope to catch you next episode.